So today is Cinco de Mayo, so obviously I have to have my quarantina Rita because I could go out because I'm in Texas, but there's only going to be like 10 people and that. And I have a car to build. So you can see I cleaned up a little bit. It's still a mess, but it's way better than what it was because yesterday I came out here to work on the car and my compressor blew up that I've only had hooked up for a week. So I got it secondhand, just like every single other thing that I've ever bought in my life, and this guy f***ed me and he refused to do anything about it, so whatever. But now I'm going to be into the compressor for more than a new compressor because it wasn't even a good deal. I paid $350 for a used $500 compressor, and now I got to put a $200 head on it. So I didn't make out. I guess that's the way it goes. But then I was like, well, hell, I'll just work on the car a little bit and see what I can do before I get aggravated, because I was already pretty aggravated. And I'm at the same spot because I got the bell housing up and tried to get it over the dowels, and the dowels are like a little bit pushed out or mushroomed out. And I normally get my stuff from LMR, but their will call is discontinued, so it'd take me 3 days to get their dowels. I got a guy down the road that might have some, but he's going to pull them out of an iron block, and anybody that's ever pulled dowels before knows that that's a huge pain in the ass. So I got to pull the clutch back out, which, like I said before, I thought that there's going to be enough for them. There's plenty enough for them, and this hole's so big up here that it's actually not bad to work on. So that's not the worst thing in the world. But I got to pull the clutch back out, get some vice grips in there, try to pull these dowels, and hopefully I can just clean them up to fit over the bell housing. If not, I gotta wait for the guy I know to let me know if he can get those dowels out. If not, I'm gonna have to order some, and then the car is gonna be on hold for like another 3 days. So that's my plan today, and hopefully we can get somewhere with it. Alright, I've had my motivational smoked chicken, tequila, and beer for dinner. So it's only 7, which gives me about 2.5 hours to get this thing done. And it's bolted up except for the dowel bolts, which seem like they need a washer underneath them. So I gotta figure that out. I'm gonna just pull this out, maybe clean the holes and see if they're just dirty and run them through a couple times. And hopefully I can lift this transmission by myself. It's pretty fucking heavy. But I'd like to get the transmission sitting in this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it by myself, but I'm pretty fucking motivated to get this done. Mostly because I don't want to work on it anymore. So, let's see what we get done in the next couple hours. Because I still got a drift car to fix, a shop to put together, and a house to paint, and bumpers to get for the truck and stuff. So, let's use this motivation for good use and get this fucking thing done. So right now I'm at a standstill because my dumbass launched one of the clutch bolts in the shop somewhere, and I can't find it. And I looked through my box and I don't have one that's the right size. So now I'm running around trying to find the bolt. You know, basically the story of every single person that's ever used a universal socket ever on anything. It's going to fling your shit all over the place. So we got the transmission in. I'll brighten this up later. But the clutch fork has literally zero wiggle room and it's not fully bolted in. So now I gotta pull this all the way back out so I can adjust that pivot ball, which I don't even know if it has an adjustable pivot ball, but good thing I have one in my other bell housing. Neat. So yeah, it just took us like 30 minutes of just lifting on this thing. And now it's gonna come all back out. Super unfortunate. And this needs to be twisted around because it does not fit at all, which I figured that would happen. Oh well. I finally got the transmission up and in. She looks real nice. She's only got a ton of fingerprints on it because my hands are fucking filthy. But it actually fits really good. The drive shaft's a little tight and I gotta change the yoke on the diff there because it's got a Foxbody diff on the IRS, or diff yoke, I guess you want to say. And I have the 03 diff yoke still, so that's good that I'm a hoarder and I kept all that shit. I still gotta put the speedo sensor in, so I gotta probably break this back down, but it actually fits really good. The only thing is this clutch fork is super tight and I'm kind of at a standstill whether I want to run it, make sure that I don't have a vibration, or make sure I do have a vibration, because if I do, I got to pull everything out and put a new clutch in it. If I don't, then I only got to pull the transmission out and put a shift fork in it. So I'm going to talk to one of my buddies tomorrow. Well, I'll talk to him tonight and see if he's got one, but I also got to check on the forums and stuff to see. All right, this is a plan. I'm going to cut this rib out, that rib out, that rib out, and that rib out. So that's all that should be hitting right there, which it looks like they may have cut that already, because it's definitely notched. That's super fancy cut. That might be factory though, because I guess I could cut those ribs, but then I'd hit there again. So I'm gonna cut that, get this thing to move back a little bit, because there's so much room back here that they just don't allow you to get to. And then I'll hopefully be able to put it back in. I did pull this by myself and it really wasn't that bad on the ground, because I was able to set the lift up correctly. Putting it in is probably going to be real rough. Alright, I had to walk out of the shop because my Harbor Freight, which is old reliable air compressor, it still just cheeches along, and I ran it for probably 2 years with no oil in it, and it still just runs fantastic. It's just loud as a bastard. But it did a lot better than my used Husky air compressor that only lasted me a week. But this is the finished product. It is cut down a little bit close there, but the rest of it's pretty fucking mint. And these are grinded down for the bolts. I didn't show that, but I put it back on there and the bolts were getting in the way. So I got those down with the Dremel tool and I cleaned it up a little bit. And just want to show you guys, look at the difference. That's basically where it sat before I put the pivot ball in. When I put the pivot ball in, it sat like there. And now, with both, I got all that play. So, now, she should be pretty mint. Transmission's finally in. Hopefully for good, we'll see. My little clearance issue right here. Plenty of room. So I'm going to take my little angle finder. I need to sneeze. Damn corona. Sit it up on there. So maybe you can see, because I can barely see. Terrible recording. Bad at life. Nope. There it is. So you probably, it's super blurry, but it's like 86 degrees. So then I go over here to my diff. My diff is roughly 94 degrees, which you still can't see because I didn't turn the light on like a jackass. So they're actually on the same plane, which is pretty perfect. I got the sweet Harbor Freight compressor to ruin the video, but it wasn't very good anyway. So they should be sitting pretty perfect. I'm trying to get this drive shaft in. It is really tight, but it does fit. So I gotta get that in there next. So we're getting close, real close. I got the drive shaft in after fighting it a little bit. It sits a little tighter now with the 03 Cobra hub back on it, on the pinion. It's not as nice as it was before. As you can see, it's pressed right up against the dust boot, and that's not ideal. However, the rear end is an IRS and it's solidly mounted. There's no rubber in it anymore, so I should be fine. And the engine and transmission are rubber mounted, so that will give it some play if it decides to try to push into it. I mean, it did fit, so it's not hard up. You can see I can move it a little bit, so it's not like jamming into the transmission. But I get the drive shaft with the transmission. If I bought this new, I would send it back and I'd get a 1/4 inch taken out of it, minimum. If you have a solid axle car, do not run anything like this. You will blow the ass of the transmission right out of it. With a solid axle car, when the axle comes up and down, it will slide the slip yoke. So you need a lot of play there. This, it doesn't slide at all. That's why, like all the new cars, they're bolted flanges on each side. But that's why I'm not too worried about this. It should be fine. If I find issues, I'll send it out and I'll get it shortened. But it fits. It's a little tight. It's really tight. That's the way I like it. The whole exhaust would not fit at all. So you can see the only thing that 16-year-old me and 26-year-old me has in common is my welds, because they're still fucking garbage. But we finally got the whole exhaust in the car, and it fits pretty nice. Next step is to just lower it down. We got a clutch cable to put in. What else do we got? Oh yeah, I gotta put the shifter in, and that's pretty much it. So we're not gonna worry about the bolts on the bell housing. James said we had to put the bolts in the bell housing. We don't care about that. That's fine. But that's pretty much it. So it's pretty close to being done, and the tailpipe doesn't look terrible. So it will definitely drive today. Imagine that. Crazy. All right, here's the first start with the transmission actually installed. It's not like fully installed. As you can see, the shifter bolts are pretty terrible because this one's different than the TKO, but it does seem to shift really good. That should be reverse. Oh, there it is. The clutch is pretty high. But it moves and it releases. So that's good. And it actually feels softer than before. So maybe I fixed my clutch issue. It is kind of loud though. We'll give an update when we get on the road. So the car definitely has an exhaust leak, but there's a giant gaping hole right here, which is exactly where the exhaust is, so it's going to be loud. But the car had a terrible vibration at 2 grand that I didn't even almost want to drive it home, and I lifted it back home under 2,000 RPM. Right now I'm at 24, and the car has 0 vibration. I don't even have my hand on the wheel, it's fine. So, hope you enjoyed the video. The car still has issues, so we're gonna have to pull it back apart again and inspect it. Hopefully it goes a little bit smoother. It's probably just an issue with the clutch. So we'll go in, look at it, and replace that clutch. And hopefully that fixes all our problems. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys would like to see.